Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Jesse Lynch, and I'm your 401 New River class. The presentation I'm going to be giving you today is the laser threat to aviation, and I'll ask that you please hold all your questions until the very end. Okay, on slide 2, the topics I'm going to be going over today is what is a laser attack? What type of lasers are being utilized out there for these types of attacks. Pilot Ian Smith's experience when him and his co-pilot were attacked by a laser when they were coming into land. Some of my personal experiences when it comes to takeoff and landing, how important it is being, and I was a qualified aircrew guy in the Marine Corps, and the current impact that it's having on the aviation community as a whole, not just here in the United States, but also overseas, Canada, Europe mostly, and some of my recommendations to alleviate this problem. Okay, slide 3, it has a link in there for the YouTube video. I recommend you go on there and watch it if you get a chance, but I'll just try to summarize it real quick. It's about a minute long. It shows pilots coming in to land and taking off at night, experiencing people on the ground shining laser up into their cockpit. And you'll be able to see in the video that it's very blinding. The pilots are unable to see anything on the outside of the cockpit. So coming into land and taking off, I mean, it's a very serious aspect of flying. And the most critical aspect of flying, and for that to blur all their vision during that time is very, it could be detrimental to the pilots and the passengers. Okay, slide 4. What is a laser attack? A laser attack, defined by the FAA, is anyone knowingly aiming a laser at a commercial aircraft in the jurisdiction of the United States, whether it's takeoff or landing or in the pathway of a plane coming into land, is considered a laser attack. And it is a federal offense to do such things. So this is slide number 5. So a typical laser that is being utilized, it's the regular type of lasers that you would see a professor in college using to maybe show some students on a whiteboard to point out some things. It could be red, green, blue. It doesn't matter. They all have the same strength and about the same range. At this time, you can purchase these lasers on Amazon. They're about $40 a piece, and there is no age restriction whatsoever on these lasers. So if you have an Amazon account, you could go in there and purchase one of these things. And I believe all you need to open up an Amazon account is a name and a credit card and all that good stuff. So obviously, adolescent kids and young adults are getting a hold of these lasers. The range on these type of lasers is anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 feet. So that's very significant because most pilots, when they're coming into land and taking off, that's about the range of, pilots are trying to get the cabin ready for landing or the cockpit ready for landing and all that kind of crazy stuff. So you can definitely see that it's dangerous, that 3,000, 5,000 feet. Okay, slide number 6, Ian Smith's personal experience. He is currently a first officer with Canadian Airways. Him and his co-pilot were coming into land at one of the airports in Canada, and his co-pilot was like, "Hey, you have the controls. Somebody just lays me in the eyes from the ground, and I can't see anything." And that was Ian Smith's personal experience. My personal experience, I'm currently in the Marine Corps, and I'm qualified as an aircrew gunner on CH-46s and V-22s. And flying in Afghanistan and Iraq, the most critical part of any flying thing that we do is takeoff and landing. And at that time, all aircrew are focused on one thing, and that's landing and taking off safely. So if somebody was shining a laser into the cockpit, preventing us from being able to see the outside and all the obstacles and all that stuff, it could be a catastrophic event. Okay, on slide 8, I pulled this chart right off of the FAA's website. It's a chart that shows how since 2007 to roughly 2016, how laser attacks are doubling every year in the United States. And this is an ongoing and a growing problem that needs to be taken care of before we end up having a airplane crash. Okay, some of the current impacts that it's having to the aviation industry. Pilots are taking off at night or coming into land, and the ones that are taking off, they're getting lasers shine in their eyes to where they can't continue their flight that they're just about to start. They're having to circle around. The other pilots having to land the plane. There's flight delays. Pilots are having to go, to the hospital to see how much damage was done to their retinas and all that type of stuff. And, thank God and luckily there hasn't been a crash yet, but I feel there probably will be if we don't get a handle on this. Sorry, there we go. Okay, slide 10, flash blindness. What is it? So I like to explain it like this. If you're in a dark room and you've gained your night vision to where you can kind of see what's going on, see around you in the room, and somebody either turns the light switch on or shines something in your eyes, that moment in time that it takes you to regain that night vision is exactly like flash blindness. So when a pilot is coming into land and a laser beam hits the canopy of the cockpit, it does the same thing effect to that pilot's eyes. And pilots need their eyes to land, so that's a serious issue. The most common issue with the laser, being shined in your eyes is the retinal burning. Once your retina is burned by a laser, it doesn't replenish, and your body does not fix itself, and there's no procedure to do it. So it's a permanent damage that is done to the eye, and there's nothing you can do about it. So a pilot, it can potentially ruin their career, and it'd be detrimental to that pilot as well. Okay, moving on to slide 11. I pulled this chart off the internet. It's awesome chart. It shows a plane coming into land, and those little green boxes right above that green line, this is a picture of the cockpit windshield, what it looks like with somebody shining a laser into the plane at different altitudes. At the far right, I think it's about 10,000 feet. So you can see, there's really nothing going on. But as the plane starts to descend and get to around 4,000 feet, all the way down to about 750 feet, you can see how that laser in that cockpit just slowly starts encompassing the whole cockpit to where you cannot see anything on the outside. And that's the problem that we're running into with lasers. A pilot needs to be able to see when they're coming into land that close to the ground. They're not allowed to have the plane on autopilot and all that other stuff. So they have to physically land the plane themselves using their eyes. Okay, slide 12. Who is affected? The pilots are affected, the passengers are affected, and the people on the ground. If the pilots cannot see to fly the plane and there's a potential that they could crash, obviously the passengers in the back are going to be affected. And in the picture that you can see on slide 12, most airports are in rural areas, and they have buildings, cities, all kinds of crazy stuff around them. And houses. So if a pilot's coming into land, usually they're over those houses and stuff when the lasers are happening. And if they crash, they could potentially hurt everybody on board and kill all the people on the ground. And it would be a bad day. So, what is being done to prevent and stop these laser attacks? Well, the FAA has introduced a laser safety initiative. And this initiative goes out to general public and to local police force to get the word out about how serious laser attacks are on commercial aircraft. And they talk about that they're also a felony, prison time and fines and all this other stuff. But they want to get the word out and educate pretty much about how detrimental these lasers could be, if one actually did crash. President Obama also signed the Modernization Reform Act in 2012, which it pretty much just makes shining a laser at a commercial aircraft is a federal offense in the United States, and it's punishable up to prison time and fines. Not only is the United States looking heavy at fines and federal offenses and all this other stuff, the London police force has actually made a 3-helicopter task force, and their whole mission is at nighttime to go out, and they have a sophisticated little GPS detector that once a laser is shined, it detects where they're at on the ground and gives the pilot in the helicopter a grid coordinate, which they relay that message to police on the ground to go to that coordinate, and they actually arrest the people that are shining the lasers. So, not only is it happening in the United States, it is happening all over overseas, especially in Europe, and it's happening in Canada. Some of my recommendations are to provide more education to the local public, to people on the ground, the population, just let them know, like, hey, lasers they have a significant range on them. And they could be detrimental. If a pilot can't see, they could crash, and it could hurt a lot of people. There's talk about manufacturing some laser-resistant windshields. I think that's a great idea. Shining a laser at a windshield and it just ricochets off, and the pilots wouldn't have to worry about it. Also, pilots, I feel that they should be issued like laser-resistant, laser-filtered glasses that they can put on during takeoff and landing. I mean, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. You take off, as you're about to take off, you put these glasses on. Shouldn't interfere, just resist the laser if it hits it. It makes sense to me. So, in conclusion, what I went over is what's a laser attack? Talked about that. What types of lasers are being utilized out there? Just the run-of-the-mill, buy them off Amazon, professors use them. Those are ones that are so dangerous. Pilot Ian Smith's experience, him and his co-pilot coming into land, the Canadian Airways guys. My personal experience of how important takeoff and landings are. The impact that it's having on the aviation industry with flight delays, pilots getting their eyes burned, that type of stuff. And some of my recommendations, changing the windscreens, goggles, and stuff like that. Okay, last slide. This concludes my presentation. At this time, do I have any questions? Okay, awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you.